Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Okay y'all, I'm jumping straight into this video today, but I do want to say before I start, thank y'all so very much for all the love that y'all showed on the last video. It was all about option Greeks, and honestly I did not think y'all would care about that video at all, for real. Like, I really did not believe y'all would care. I thought the subject matter would be like a little too boring or just kind of dated, and I didn't know a lot of people didn't know about the Greeks. But a lot of y'all showed so much love and said it was valuable, and I broke the information down well. So thank y'all so much for all the compliments, all the love, all the support. Y'all are it for me. Like, that's that's love. So yeah, I'm hopping right into this video. This will be all about charting on mobile. Now, I have previously made a couple videos talking about how you can chart, because I know a lot of my subscribers are new to trading. So you may be trading on your cell phone, to be honest, and some people are trading on like their iPad, which is what I'm on right now, just to make sure that, you know, if you are a beginner, you don't feel like you can't still trade. I know desktop version of Thinkorswim is ideal, and I'm gonna make those videos again very soon. But I'm charting on mobile today so that everyone can still have the advantage of learning like quality ways to trade, even though you may not have access to like the desktop version. Okay, so let's just go ahead and hop right into it. Okay, so the first thing I want to show y'all is that it really doesn't take a whole lot to get, you know, started with charting. I'm going to go ahead and hit the left side of the screen, and you'll see kind of like the functions and different elements pull up. At the very top, you see the two candlesticks. I'm going to go ahead and touch on that. This is going to allow you to edit the styles, aka the chart styles. So with this, you can completely customize it to make it fit what you want for your chart. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys just a few of the functions so you guys can see the type. You can have it as bars. You can also change it if you want it to be lines. It's whatever you want. I'm going to stick to candles. Now you can toggle volume off or on. It just depends on what you would want. And then calendar events, same thing. Personally, I think that's kind of a distraction to have calendar events toggled on, so I usually leave it off. Extended hours, you can turn that off or on, just depends on what you would want. Expansion area, same thing. Price axis, you can have that as absolute or percentage. It's up to you. And then under time frame, you can kind of change this as well if you want it to be daily, or you can stick to the intraday, or you can have it as tick. It's up to you. And again, you can change the period, 4 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever you want. I just have it set for 5 minutes, just for example purposes. Now, under studies, this is where I'm going to spend a bulk of today talking about, along with just showing you guys different variations of like the actual drawings that you can use. So you're going to click on add or edit studies, and you can also get to it by clicking the beaker icon, which I'll show you all in a second. But under here, you're going to see all these different indicators that you can use. Some of them work better than others. Some people just have a preference for them. And if you're a new trader, I say just take some time. Maybe find one or two that you think are beneficial and just play with them for real. Really just kind of like look and see what they do for your charts. And if it makes sense for you, then keep them. Now, I have previously made a video discussing my top 5 indicators. If you haven't checked it out, I'll leave it linked down below in the description. So just take some time and kind of watch that. So yeah, just kind of play around with the indicators. From there, you're going to see comparisons. I'm going to click on that. Now, this is also kind of like a hidden gem. A lot of people don't know that you can actually compare stocks within Thinkorswim. So for example, if you wanted to compare SPX and let's say Tesla, you guys can see here, you're just going to click the gear icon. You can make some edits and changes if you want to, whatever. And then that is going to be a way you can compare. I'm going to take them off. But again, that's a function and a feature people don't really use or like talk about. But yeah, you can do that. Underneath that, you can also save it as a new style. So if you want to type in like new style, you can kind of put that there, whatever. I'm gonna hit cancel. And yeah, that's going to be the first part of this, is just understanding how you can customize your chart. And it's just totally up to you and your preference. So do whatever you need to do to make it look visibly what you would want, and then set the features up to what you feel is going to work best for you as well. Okay, so next, underneath that, you guys will see this beaker icon. I'm going to go ahead and click on it because this is going to be the studies that I just mentioned. So you're going to see all the categories. You can choose to kind of look in terms of like if you want bearish or bullish candlestick patterns, if you want crossovers, any type of thing that you would want as far as like momentum, or you can click on all studies. Now, when you click on all studies, it's going to give you a full breakdown of tons of different indicators that you can use. Now there's so many on this list, so I obviously won't go over all of them. I do want to quickly mention though, real fast, that I don't use indicators as my first means of analysis. I strictly use indicators as confirmation for what the charts have shown. So basically what I'm saying is the indicators are just signals for me to further prove that the trade will be high probability. So when I first started trading, I can be honest and say I would use indicators as like my only method of understanding, because I had no prior knowledge of like how to read the charts, how to understand things. But as I continued to trade, I learned the charts and I understood that indicators are not your first means of evaluation. Your first means of evaluation should be understanding and fully reading the charts. So this means just understand like historical analysis, okay? So I'm just sidebarring by saying that. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit a couple of them. Let me show you guys. Let me think. Okay, so let me say this. Also, I did make a video kind of talking about the top 5 indicators that I feel are really good. So if you haven't seen that video, feel free to check it out in the description box below. I'll leave a link for it. But let me go ahead and touch on a couple I didn't mention in that video. Let me see. I think I want to go with, let's go with Keltner channels. Let's start with that. I'm going to scroll back up and I'm going to show you guys this. You guys can hit the gear icon and it'll allow you to edit. Now, if you've never heard of Keltner channels before, I do have an ebook and I'll offer that on July 1st. And it kind of just explains it. But I'm going to give y'all kind of just a brief synopsis of what Keltner channels do and how they work real quick. So Keltner channels have 3 like different bands in a sense. It pretty much is going to measure like volatility. And the upper band is going to be what you would use for the ATR. If you've never heard of ATR, it's just the average true range. And this is going to be to the EMA. So the midline is going to be the central line, which is going to be essentially the exponential moving average. And then the lower channel, that's that lower band, it's going to be subtracting a multiple of the ATR from the EMA. So if that sounds confusing, just know it's a bunch of different words to say zones, like how you can look at price zones. Okay, so you can go ahead and edit these any way you see fit. I'm going to go ahead and just hit back and then I'm going to hit done so you guys can see what it looks like when you pull it up on the chart. So these are going to be Keltner channels in terms of what they look like. Now, with this being said, again, I'm going to make a detailed video kind of explaining how they function. But let me go back to studies real quick. I want to pull up. Let me see. What else do I want to pull up? I mentioned my top 5 before. I'm trying to do a couple that I use often, but I didn't mention in that video. Let's do the TTM squeeze now that I'm thinking about it. Let's go there. Let's go TTM squeeze. And then I'm going to go back up and let y'all see this here. Here, you can hit the edit bar and do the same thing if you want to have it set for the colors to be changed, whatever. Hit the back button. I'm going to hit done. And now you can see the TTM squeezes here at the bottom. Now, if you're looking at this and you're like, I don't know what's what's going on, let me just kind of explain the TTM squeeze real quick as well. So you guys can see when the upward momentum is going a certain way that you can see the green bars. So for example, at 12:15, right? You guys can see right above the Keltner channel, you see the red, the green, and the purple. And then at the TTM squeeze, you see like these little green bars at the bottom. And it's kind of showing you the momentum essentially of what's going on, right? You guys can see like that volatility, the motion. I'll explain it like that. When it's upwards, you guys can also see the stock is moving up. But for example, if you look at here at about 140, 145, that range where it's kind of taking that dip, you see the TTM squeeze is red. You see those red lines. That's going to tell you that it's in a downward trend or downward momentum. Okay, so again, once it goes up, you guys can see the TTM squeeze is in green. Now I'm going to explain exactly what this means in a future video, so no need to worry about that. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on so you guys can kind of see different elements and different variations of things you can use as well. All right, so next on the list, you guys will see here is this little eye. This is going to be where you can have anything like visible for what you would want as far as like positions, your working orders. If you have alerts set, you can turn those on or off to be visible. So that's pretty self-explanatory. I'm going to go ahead and go under crosshairs. That's going to be this symbol here. And this is going to be where you get real specific and real particular about whatever it is that you're analyzing on the charts. I like using the crosshairs on mobile because it gives you, again, that precision when you're looking at whatever it is that you need to see. So you guys can see here it's targeted at that 54.61, and then it's going to show you a bunch of different information about the high, the low, and then of course like range, and then you'll see volume. If the stock market was open, you would actually see the open volume as well. So that's going to be the crosshairs, and you can kind of toggle that and play with it. And then from here, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the default for the drawings. You guys can see you can pretty much duplicate a drawing set if you had one. You can edit them. You can pretty much clear them if you need to. All that good stuff goes here. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and jump into the main part of this video, which is going to be explaining all these different functions under the new drawings. Okay. So let's hop into that. All right. So when we look at this, as far as like new drawings, you guys can see at the top, you guys see trend lines, the price level, time level, and then a text note. Some of these are going to be very self-explanatory, but I'm going to go ahead and show you a few of them. So we'll start with trend line. Now, a trend line is going to be essentially what you would have in terms of what you're looking at for basically what it sounds like. What's trending? How is the stock moving? So is it incrementally in an uptrend or is it in a downtrend? These are going to be the ways you would chart for it. So let's say, for example, you were looking at this level here, for like a level of like maybe support and resistance is what you would be looking for, right? So we see this level here, and you can draw your trend lines for as long as you want. You can kind of move them up, move them down, diagonal, however you would want to do it. So I'm going to say here to about that low at that price. And then all you're going to do, if you want to actually hit properties, you can, and you can kind of show what kind of arrow type you would want. You can show the label position, the name. You can also extend it if you want to have the left extension or the right extension turned on. Totally your choice. You can also adjust the value. So let's say you wanted it exactly at the 54.60. You can take everything else off, hit done, and it'll be exactly at that value. Same thing for the endpoint. Change the color if you like, the style, all that stuff works. Okay, so I'm going to just go ahead and be done with that. I'm going to hit done, and boom. Now we have our first trend line drawn. Now, if you don't know how trend lines work, again, I'm going to make a future video explaining all about trend lines. This one is more so just about how you can pull these things up on the chart. So now let's go ahead and move on. I'm going to go back to it. We're going to go to new. Now we're going to take a look at price level. Okay, so when you hit that money sign, that's going to be price level. Now, again, this is self-explanatory. What this does is kind of just show you exactly where the prices are. So if we're going to zoom in, let's say, for example, here, we're going to zoom in. If you want it to be very precise at maybe this level here and then this level here, you can kind of move it up or down. That way it'll tell you exactly what the price level would be. And I'm going to go ahead and show you this again. Hit properties, and you can do the same thing. Go ahead and take any time you would need to edit, make any changes, and then once you do, go ahead and hit done, and boom. Now you can see the price level is precisely right underneath that bell, and you'll see it's at 54.72. Okay, so that's going to be how you chart for price levels. And I have the line extended all the way to the left, so if I zoom out, you can see it still shows you that level. So again, if we were to do it again, let me show you. New price level. Let's say we also wanted to chart for this price level here. I'm going to move it up and adjust it, and then hit done. And now you have a second price level that you can look at, and this will help you with the zones. And zones are important with support and resistance. So it's important to have those pulled up. Essentially, yeah, that's how that works. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the next one. All right, so next up, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the time level. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. Now with the time level, it does, again, exactly what it sounds like. It's going to give you that precise level of time. So I'm going to go ahead and just randomly select. Now with the with the time level, this can be adjusted as well. You can kind of move it wherever you see fit to have it. Now it is going to show you obviously this vertical line going up and down. So once you find a price level that you're comfortable with and that you want to kind of take a further look at, go ahead and hit done. And when you do, you can kind of zoom it in and see exactly what's going on with that candlestick, because it can be kind of tricky to see these timestamps exactly on mobile. That's why it's important that you always have like this time level that you can choose. Because let's say, for example, you're like looking at it and you're like, dang, I don't know if that candlestick is at 115 or is at 113. Because when you zoom it in and zoom it out, you see how the numbers can obviously be expanded and then they disappear. Same thing, they're expanded, they disappear. So you can have that time level show you the exact time stamp. That way you know exactly what the candle did at that moment, okay? All right, so let's go back. Now we can take a look at text note. Text note, again, self-explanatory. All you're going to do with this is just find a level that you feel is necessary, or if you just have a note to yourself you want to make, just hit the chart And then let's say, for example, you found a level of support. You can type that in, hit done. And then wherever you see that level of support, you can have it marked for that, okay? Now you can edit it and change it if you want to. Do whatever you feel is gonna work best for you to have maybe notes. You can also, like you see the arrow, you can change the color, all that good stuff for this. So it's just completely customizable to what you see fit and what's gonna make the most sense for your chart. All right, so next you guys can see we have the arrow, the oval, the rectangle, and then the channel. Some of these are very, again, self-explanatory, so I don't want to make the video kind of repetitive, but you guys can pretty much guess what the arrow would be, right? You guys just draw an arrow to where you would want your particular level, or maybe a specific zone that you're looking at, whatever you want to pinpoint it, and you can just move it up, down, move it wherever you need to. Can kind of just play with it and then hit done once you feel like that's where you want the arrow to be pointed. So self-explanatory, no need to go into a whole bunch of detail with that. Now we're going to go to the oval. This is going to be if you have any areas of like different variation of like I want to focus on that. That's where you can draw that oval, because again, it shows you precisely where you would want to go for just looking at any indicators or any signs, any trade signals that you have. That's, again, self-explanatory. Same thing with the rectangle. I won't even pull that up. Now, channel, we're going to go here. So with the channel, what this does is it pretty much provides a range. And this is going to be something where you'll see two lines, essentially. Go here, go here. Let's say, for example, that to there. Then you can go ahead and have it hit there and then do it again. Let's say you have another one there and there. Right? Let's say that's your channel. You're going to go ahead and hit done. Now, is that an actual channel? No, but again, y'all see the point of what I'm doing, right? Just kind of play with it, see what works for you. Underneath that, you're going to see the regression line. This is going to be very similar. Let me zoom it out so that it makes more sense. These are going to be the lines you choose for the stock obviously regressing. You can look and see whatever trend or whatever line makes sense. Now, this one isn't as able to be as flexible because, again, it's a regression line. So it's showing you exactly what's happening. So once you feel like that's where you want it to be placed, hit done, zoom it in, and you can see it. You can change the colors as well. I just leave it at the default, but you can change it if you like. All right, so then you guys see the Fibonacci retracements. This is what I want to spend some time talking about. A lot of people don't use the fibs. Well, maybe they do, I don't know, but I feel like it's necessary to use the Fibonacci retracements. They're pretty beneficial. Let me show y'all how these work. All right, so for the Fibonacci's, what I'm going to go ahead and do is clear my chart to start because I want y'all to give full attention. I'm going to give this my undivided. So I'm going to remove the drawings for every single thing that I've done so far. Remove. There we go. Give it a second. And you'll have a clear chart. Let me also pull up this and take off the indicators. All right, so now we have a clear chart. So with the Fibonacci's, I'm going to go ahead and go back to new, and then I'm going to go to retracements, and that's going to be where we start. Now for this, it's usually going to be the best way to see your levels of support and resistance. Again, do not use these indicators as your first level of confirmation. That is not what they are for. Like, at least for me, they're not. It's always going to be just what I use to pretty much back what I'm thinking as far as what I read on the chart. So if I need a third or second level of confirmation, that's when I use these indicators. But it's never my go-to for analysis. Never, never, never. It's always just the backup. All right, so for Fibonacci's, all I'm going to do is either drag the high to the low or the low to the high. So let's say we have a spot here, which is showing us on the chart that the low is here at this 54.46. First thing you would need to do is find whatever you're charting for. Is it going to be the low to the high or the high to the low? So in this case, it's going to be low to high. Now you're going to look at one of the two of the areas. Let me zoom it out so you guys can see. So we're going to see the high here is going to be at about just before about 130. So I'm going to go ahead and have that as the second touch point. And then you guys will see these horizontal lines appear. Let me adjust it just a little bit here. So it goes right there. I'm going to go ahead and hit done. Now for the Fibonacci retracements, the three main levels to look for that are going to be very key are going to be one, the 38.2%, the 50, and then the 61.8%. Those are going to be the three main levels. So let me show y'all this again. Let me actually remove it. I want y'all to kind of get a little bit more detail with it. So let me show y'all. So you're going to go here, right? You hit the little pencil tool, hit new. Hit the percent sign. Only the one for the retracements will be the percent sign. So hit that and then go to the low for wherever that is. and then you're going to drag it up to wherever you see the first level of high, and that's going to be here. But you can also edit this. So let me show y'all. This is going to be here. Let me remove it real quick just so I can show y'all this clearly, because I want it to be no confusion. Right, this, hit the percent, go down there, hit it up here, hit properties. Now this is going to be where you can kind of extend it to the left if you want the lines to be extended. You can leave it if you don't. Now the coefficients are going to be what you see for the numbers, okay? You can have it on the left, you can have it not shown at all, or you can have it on the right. It's up to you. And then the price level, you can show that. So it's going to have the start value, the end value, up to you. Now this is where you're going to see the Fibonacci curve properties. Now these are where the coefficients come into play. So you guys can see here, they have a whole ton of lists of different ones. Again, I think that the 382, which is going to be the 38.2, the 0.5, which is 50%, and then the 618, which is 61.8%, are the most important, but you can choose to, like, you know, play with it and see what makes the most sense for you. You can also add a curve if you want to as well. Most people don't know that. So if you want to add your own coefficient, you can do this and just kind of, you know, toggle it up and down, raise it, lower it, whatever you want to put in, and then hit done once you have it, and then go back and then it'll be added. Okay, so that's how you do essentially the setup. So let me show you how Fibonacci's work. All right, so once you have it pulled up the way you want, I'm going to go ahead and close that out. I'm going to make sure this is at the range that I want it to be at for the high. Kind of adjust it just a little bit. And I'm going to hit done. Okay, boom, there you go. So we see the high and the low. Now with that being said, I want to show you guys how these particular lines are either respected or they're not. So you guys can see this was in an uptrend, right? So we started at the low and we looked at the price at the higher mark, at least for this particular part of the day. Now you're going to look at different levels. So for example, like I said, that 50% is going to be one that we pay attention to. The 61.8 as well, because these are going to be usually levels where it'll bounce or either like respect or reject support or resistance, either or. It'll do one of the two, right? So we look for different areas that make the most sense. And if you already chart it for like your trend lines, or if you already chart it for price levels, you may have some consistency within that. And that's how you become really good at trading. Once you have levels, multiple, that have been like pretty much confirmed, and you can like duplicate it over and over, that's when you know that you're charting correctly, because you're like, oh, okay, this level is the same that I've already charted for. This indicator, which is the fibs, it confirms the level that I already have previously put on the chart. So I hope that makes sense. That's basically how that works. You have to pretty much use the charts for what they're worth and then add the indicators on top, okay? So I'm going to break down the Fibonacci's in a future video, but I'm going to go ahead and leave it for now because I know this can be a lot of information at once and I don't want to overwhelm anyone. But just know future videos are coming to kind of break things down even more. But if you've never set up your charts and if you've never learned how to do this, I hope you at least learned a few things. So yeah, that'll pretty much do it for this video. Thank y'all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.